Hi, this is Rob Lauer with Battlefield America, and I'm coming to you from the Love Ranch in Nye County, which is a brothel owned by Dennis Hoff, who happens to be running for state assembly. And it just happens to be that his brothel has been the target of political retaliation, has been shut down, reopened, and in fact, there's actually a ballot initiative right now, currently on the ballot this November, that could outlaw brothels in Nevada, specifically Lyon County. We are currently in Nye County here, and it's a huge issue here in Nevada. And so we decided, we've heard all sides, we've heard all things from all sides on this campaign to outlaw brothels. So we decided to go to the brothel directly and talk to the women and hear from them in their own words what is going on here and whether they're victims or whether they're professionals and doing a job. So we're going to bring in now Brooklyn, Dasha, and Sonia. Thank you for coming on today. Really appreciate that. So I'm going to read you something. This is a quote from the spokeswoman for the effort, the ballot initiative to outlaw brothels here in Nevada. Brothels coerce young girls into the sex trade, make them line up for display, and sell them like a piece of meat. How does that make you feel?
Well, I have a lot.
Is that an accurate assessment?
It's a ridiculous assessment, and it's the height of hypocrisy, especially because the woman who wrote that says she's pro-brothel under oath. So, you know, in one side of her mouth, she's saying stuff like that, trying to get the brothel shut down, and the other side of her mouth, she is saying, "Oh, I'm pro-brothel. I'm not just targeting Dennis Hoff."
But their accusation is that you're treated like a piece of meat, that you're victims, that you're coerced. Have you been coerced to be here?
No, absolutely not.
How long, Sonia, have you been here?
I've been working for Dennis since 2012. I took a break and came back. Actually, my husband and I both work here. He's the general manager.
Wow.
This is the best job I've ever had. We both quit teaching to do this. And it does not escape me the travesty that courtesans are treated better than teachers. But my lifestyle, the way I'm treated, how well I'm paid, everything is better here at the brothel than it ever was in the school system.
Have you been a victim? Are you a victim?
Of course not.
Are you here? Is anyone coercing you to be here?
Like she was saying, everyone came here for her own feed. I came here because outside it's not the same, money that I will win outside, and I have many things to pay. I have to help my family. So this is a good place for work, and I'm so glad that they're open again, because all this time it was closed. It was very hard for us, very hard. People sometimes they're just thinking like how to hurt Dennis, but they don't thinking how the people who work here are gonna be hurt very bad. Mm-hmm. And then
well, they shut down the brothel a few weeks ago. Nye County did, and they just reopened it a week ago. How has that affected you and your income and your livelihood? Because you rely on this.
Yes, I was actually here when I got shut down. I was here all the way till they got open. So it's been like maybe 3-4 weeks before we got open. But yeah, it really affected me really bad.
Sonia, you're a grandmother.
Yes, I am.
And you've helped your grandkids and your family buy homes.
Right. We were able to get a home for my daughter and her husband and their kids, and they're living on the street with my mom. So that brings the family together. It gives them the support system that they needed. And now I'm trying to get money so that we can buy a house on the same street, because my mother's getting older. So I want to be able to take care of her. I want to take care of the grandkids and be there for them. So my whole family is very supportive. They've always known what I've done. It's never been a secret. And this is my way of being able to give back. There's no other profession that I can think of where women, almost 100% of the time, make dramatically more income than men. And I think that's part of the reason why it gets attacked. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge that we're empowered women that are successful business people doing this for ourselves.
You have women calling here all the time trying to get work here.
It's very competitive.
Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
And let's go into what it actually takes to actually work here. What does a woman have to go through? What kind of legal proceedings? What kind of health proceedings does a woman have to go through to actually be employed here?
Well, first, the process of even getting through. And we did have, when they shut down...
Talk about the screening process.
Okay, when they shut down Backpage and all those other things to shut down escort services, we got a lot of girls that were working illegally who wanted to come to the brothel to work legally. So we were flooded with applicants. Well, we don't have that many rooms here. There's not that many spots. So it's very selective at that point. The girls fly in from all over the world or the country. So they have to make the investment in their airfare. They have to make the investment in their supplies. They have to, it costs...
They have a background check?
They have to go through, before they get to the background check, they have to do the doctor check, and they have to clear to tell that they don't have any STDs
and they have to do that every week.
That's every week. But
so that's every week they have to do that here after they get hired.
Out of their pocket.
But so then they have to do a background check.
Then they have to go through
sheriff's card,
the whole thing.
There's a lot involved in becoming. What would you call what you do?
A courtesan.
Okay, and so there's a lot involved in becoming a courtesan.
Right. The process was more rigorous. I worked for the government at McDonnell Douglas, and I was a teacher. And the process of becoming a courtesan in Nevada was more rigorous than either of those two processes.
Why do you go through that? You can go an hour and a half from here to Las Vegas Strip and go meet men in their hotel rooms and skip all of that. Why do you work here and not just do that?
Well, my very first brothel, very first crew I worked with, there was a young girl. She just turned 22, and she got to talking with somebody and decided it would be a great adventure to do a walkabout in Vegas. And so
Can you explain what is that? What is that?
Just to take a little adventure to go illegal and go to Vegas, and because everybody hears about in the news the prostitutes in Vegas.
Meet a guy
and
illegally at a casino
and go to the room and make money and keep all the money for herself, just so that she would have that experience, because naive at 22. She did that. Her very first client beat her, raped her, and robbed her. She's so lucky to be alive. She was so glad to be able to get back to the brothel. She's still, years later, she's still working with the brothels, but and she'll obviously never do that again. But she could easily...
So the brothels provide all of you, safety and security in what you do. You're not in fear for your safety.
Never.
Is that true?
Never.
So it's actually the opposite of what they're saying.
Exactly.
They're not being coerced. This place, this brothel that Dennis Hoff owns, provides you a safe environment in which to work.
Yes.
And actually
not be in fear of being raped and murdered on Fremont Street in a hotel suite, right?
Right.
So you have an opportunity to work here, but there's also another side that people don't hear about. And that's the men who are also not at risk of being robbed and killed when they meet a woman illegally, whether it's on Fremont Street or somewhere else. And he knows that you guys have been medically checked. He's not going to get sick. He's not going to get robbed. There's a business transaction, and it's a professional, safe environment.
And he's not going to get stalked by the girl that he was just with. There's so many complications that you get away from, just because you're coming here to the legal brothel.
He's not going to be shook down if he's married.
Right.
He's not going to be extorted if he's married. He's having...
Well, not just that, but also...
But that does happen.
They do sting operations. They do reverse sting operations through those...
He's not going to go to jail. He's not going to lose his livelihood.
He's not going to be in the papers.
He's not going to be in the papers. But she's not recording him and extorting money out of him if he's married or works in a public environment.
Exactly.
So it does provide a safe environment for both the women and the men. Is that a fair statement?
Yes. And because of that, we attract the careful men, the men who actually care. The men who would pick up somebody in Vegas or who would pick up a drunk girl in a bar and take her out to the parking lot, those aren't the same kind of men that go to a brothel. The men who go to a brothel come here for a controlled, safe, quality experience.
We're going to be back after these messages.
Newsflash, local attorney Paul Patter wins a $160 million verdict against a strip casino.
Paul Patter got me a $160 million verdict.
In a wreck, need a check? Don't settle for pennies on the dollar. At Paul Patter Law, we know how to win. We recently received one of the largest verdicts in Nevada history, $160 million. As I always say, don't get mad, get legal.
Paul Patter got me a $160 million verdict.
Welcome back to this episode of Battlefield America. I'm here at the Love Ranch in Nye County with Dasha, Brooklyn, and Sonia, who work here. And this is a brothel, and we're doing a story about what's going on here. And we were talking about before about safety and security that comes with a brothel. Now, we were talking off camera before this. Tell me, how long has this brothel been here?
There's been a brothel here since the 70s, since it's been legal.
It's over 50 years.
Right.
So over the last 50 years, has there been any problems?
This has been a safe place to work. People come here because they want to be safe. They want the security of it. It's a safe haven and a sanctuary.
So we're going to switch topics now. And we were talking before, and I think this is something that people don't realize, and that is why some men, particularly veterans, come to a brothel. Brooklyn, you mentioned that you helped service a man who was injured in a wheel. Can you, in your own words, please tell us?
In a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair.
Yes. I had a couple of them, and basically, he just wanted something, and I had to help him onto the bed. He couldn't really. Had to get the wheelchair close to the bed so he can get on the bed because he wasn't able to walk.
So this man was a military veteran,
yes,
in a wheelchair, injured, and he came here just for what?
Just to have company.
Yeah, just for company.
Yeah.
Just be treated like a man.
Yes.
And how did it make you feel?
It made me feel wonderful, great. It felt me like I took care of somebody.
And that's normal here.
Yes.
So a lot of the men that come here, they're not just here for, I'm just going to put it rudely, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. They're here for other reasons. They're here for often emotional reasons. Mm-hmm. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Absolutely.
They just want company.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They've lost their wife is sick and injured, whatever the reason is. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely, and that uplifts us as much as it uplifts them. It's a two-way street.
You were telling us about a man who you saw, who was a comedian. Can you tell the audience?
Well, he wasn't really a comedian, but he wanted. He in his heart.
Right.
But he booked a party with me, and the party was lackluster. I mean, he just was really quick. When you said it's not wham bam, well, that kind of was, and that's really not the way it happens here. So I was, telling him he had more time, and he was fine. He was putting his clothes on, and he started to do a stand-up comedy at the foot of my bed, and it was cornball jokes, but they were funny, and I couldn't help but laugh, and I was laughing at him. He's telling me jokes, and I'm laughing, and then all of a sudden he just stopped, and tears filled his eyes, and he said, "My wife doesn't think I'm funny," and that's why he came. He came to have a woman take delight in him. It wasn't about the sex. It wasn't about the animal lust. It was about a human connection and an intimacy that wasn't happening and that he needed to stay alive.
How often does a man come here and just want to talk? Go ahead.
Many times that happened.
So it's not just about the sex.
I've been here for 2 months, working for 2 months. My first time working here, and this time is like I had like 3 times a guy just booked with me just for hug me, and
just to hold you.
Just for he just wanted to hug me and I hug him, and that's it. He didn't touch me or he didn't have something with me, just like that, and that made me feel like so special and human. And that's maybe
it's not like, what people think going on here, is it?
Many people, they just come they be happy. They feel alone, and they have come here to have a company to hug them. They feel like they're still alive. And
How does that make you feel?
Oh my God, you don't have idea. It's many feelings. I'm sorry, but I'm sensitive person, and outside people can think whatever they want, but only us know.
It's a very, very
Yeah.
intimate, very moving experience.
And like I was talking to you, we are like a clown sometimes. We make people happy. Everyone to come here, they just want to be happy and have a good time with us. And
You've had men that recently lost their wives, or maybe lost their wife a while back and never replaced their wife, never remarried, and they're just lonely.
Oh, I had a widower. He's been a widower for 15 years, and he said he would never, ever marry another person, that she was the love of his life.
I know
It's okay.
it's very sensitive.
And he was a regular. And I became one of his favorites. And the last time I saw him, he told me that he loved me. And then he says, "I'm so sorry." And I said, "No, it's okay, because there's not a limit on love. You know, he can still love me, and I can love him right back as I do, and he can still love his wife and his and, you know, nobody's replacing anybody here."
Right. But you provide that outlet, for a safe outlet for a man like that,
right,
to feel.
right, to be able to stay in touch and to keep his humanity.
So what does that mean to you?
It means everything. It means the world.
Is that why you do this?
It's
At
not
the end
how.
of the
It's
day-
not why I started. I
It's
started
not what you expected.
as a lark. It was just going to be a big adventure, and sex is fun, so it was going to be a fun adventure. And I wrote a book about it, and I thought the book was going to be about sex, but it's not. It's about the power base in the relationships between men and women and what it actually means. I got so educated by learning about men's sexuality here. I was here to kind of look at myself, but by learning about men and what men are like really and honestly, that's the only way I could find
What
myself.
are men like? What are men like?
Well, marketing and advertising would have you believe that they think with their little head, and they only have one thought in that little head, that they're pigs, that they'll, you know, lie, cheat, steal, do anything. They won't be faithful. All this kind of stuff.
You think that's why there's so little empathy for the men that come here?
Absolutely.
In these politicians' heads?
Oh, it's easy to demonize the men. But the thing that I found out when I started getting clients, because, you know, I thought I was going to be a human milking machine, just take care of one man after the other. And, you know, like, I thought it was going to be very impersonal. It is so personal. And I found out that the men want the woman's pleasure. They value a woman's pleasure over their own. I would never have believed that, because I come from a swinging lifestyle. I would have never believed that from a civilian, in a civilian environment. But when a man is paying for what he wants, and he gets to pick what he wants, and you're going to provide, you promise to provide him what he wants, and what he wants is your pleasure, and man after man after man tells you that, then you believe.
Same experience?
Same experience.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me like wonderful that I can give somebody that attention to them.
This lifestyle's not for everyone, though.
No.
And so women out there might be watching this, people that are judgmental, of course, and saying, well, you know, you guys are just the exception. It's not right. It should be shut down. It's victimizing you. What would you say to them?
Go ahead.
What would you say to them? Are you a victim?
No, I'm not a victim.
Dennis Hoff owns this brothel, the Love Ranch. How has he treated you?
He treats me with respect. He's a very great businessman. He's very intelligent. He won't hurt any of the girls at all. He's a wonderful.
Does he ever try to force himself on anyone?
No.
No.
That's what we hear, right?
No.
Oh, and okay, I'm going to come out and say it. Dennis is 71. He's diabetic. He's got a bum knee. He's usually surrounded by women who are trying to be with him. he would have to fight his way out of that pack of women trying to be with him and chase down somebody who's trying to run away from him. It's just, that's ridiculous. It's just silly.
So are those just, so where do those stories come from? Do you think those women are lying?
I do know one of the women, and she's not right up here, and hasn't been right for years. And yeah, vindictive, and they washed out at the brothel, didn't work out for them. So, a lot of people, when they lose a job or they don't do well at a job, they want to attack the workplace.
Sure.
That's it.
Dennis has been there for you. He's
absolutely
taking
changed
care
my
of
life. Totally changed my
Right
life
now,
for the better.
Is he a good guy or bad guy? Is he a good
No,
guy or
he
bad
is
guy?
very good. Right now, that we was without job, and he told me, Dasha, if you want to work, come north. I will pay everything for you, gas, doctor, sheriff card, because over there
So they
you
shut
have
it
to
down.
do it again. So
Yeah.
everything again. So he paid me everything. He paid me everything for a start again to work at north. And something that I never will forget. And I say thank you a lot to him. And people don't know, like, we was very like crazy how we're gonna do. Many people working here, and everyone have their own reason for why they are working in here. And I've been in North, and like I say, he paid everything for me. He treated me very good right there, and made me feel comfortable with other sisters and all the employers right there. Everyone was like put attention on me because for the reason that I was right there. And I just want to say thank you to him. He's very nice guy. He's very nice guy. And
Well, I want to thank all of you too. We're coming to the end of this show, and I want to thank all of you for taking the time, because it is not easy to come on TV and talk about what you're doing. You're not public people, you're private people.
Yes.
And I want to thank you, and thank all of you personally. Okay, thank you very much. It's Rob Lauer for Battlefield America.